Hi there, my name is Simon and welcome to Juicers.co.uk. Today we decided it'd be interesting to compare a high-end juicer from a renowned juicer brand against a budget juicer from a very well-known household name brand. Specifically, we're going to compare the Hurom H400 and the Nutribullet juicer. Now, immediately you can probably tell that these are very different types of juicer. And we're keen to see what impact that has, whether brand specialism has an impact, and if it's actually worthwhile spending more on a juicer. Now, as far as comparisons go, this is a battle of two very different beasts. First up, there's the Hurom H400, which is a masticating cold press juicer with loads of fancy features, including self-feeding technology and a unique multi-screw mechanism. Then there's the Nutribullet juicer, which is a centrifugal juicer with a much more streamlined approach that offers far less features overall. That said, it is also distinctly cheaper, which we'll be coming back to, but is worth keeping in mind. Now, if you're not too sure what the difference between a masticating juicer and a centrifugal juicer is, let's clear that up right now. Starting with masticating juicers, also known as cold press juicers, these models tend to work at a relatively slow pace. As a result, they're often known as slow juicers, and they work at speeds ranging from 40 to 120 rotations per minute. To extract juice, they use a screw-shaped part called an auger to crush and grind ingredients. The juice extracted from them is then filtered through a strainer, and the remaining pulp is compacted and ejected separately. On the other hand, centrifugal juicers are generally defined by their fast operation speed, working in a range from 10,000 to 25,000 rotations per minute. They use a cutting blade disc to finely shred ingredients, releasing the juice inside them. The spinning centrifugal force then pulls that juice through a fine mesh filter, separating it from the pulp, which is thrown into a waste bin on the side. All in all, they're very different methods, and do bear in mind that terms like slow or fast are very much relative. The process times between the two of them aren't all that different. Additionally, as we've already touched on a bit, the H400 also has a lot of other useful features that come into play. However, since the Nutribullet is a bit lacking in that regard, we won't focus further on the H400 now, although some of its key features will end up being mentioned later as we go deeper into this comparison. So, it's clear that the Hurom H400 and the Nutribullet juicer don't have much in common. However, that's all relatively irrelevant until we consider the impact that has on juicing. Since they use such contrasting mechanisms and approaches, we can't draw many conclusions from specifications alone. So, the best option is to do side-by-side tests, judging them purely on the juices they can actually extract. Now, it's worth noting that this approach is always a touch subjective. However, to keep things as fair as we could, we tested each juicer with a range of different ingredients and weighed each recipe out into equal portions. We then prepared all ingredients for optimal performance and juiced with them both simultaneously to achieve matching oxidation times. From these tests, we discovered the rather predictable result that the Hurom H400 was the stronger of the two. It produced greater yields from the same amount of ingredients, and the quality of the juices produced were undoubtedly higher. For example, after sitting for just 10 minutes after juicing, this is what two of the juices looked like side by side. The centrifugal juice separated out very quickly, and was clearly lacking a bit compared to its cold press counterpart. Of course, this isn't really surprising. It's well known that masticating juices have the edge over centrifugal models when it comes to juicing performance. Even so, it's still useful to see how much of a difference there is in practice. Moving on from juicing performance, there's a bit less of a gap between the Hurom H400 and the Nutribullet juicer when it comes to user experience. Since it's a self-feeding juicer, there's no doubt that the H400 does still have an advantage though. It requires equally little ingredient preparation and can be left alone to work once it's been turned on. The Nutribullet juicer, on the other hand, is a much more involved process. It is worth noting that it would typically be faster and easier against a regular masticating juicer. However, against a self-feeding model like the H400, it completely loses that advantage. The cleaning process makes for a similar story. While the Nutribullet parts can supposedly be cleaned in a dishwasher, we've had mixed results with that, and as a result would generally advise at least cleaning the cutting blade by hand. Whereas while the H400 isn't suitable for dishwashing, the multi-screw mechanism is designed to be cleaned really easily. As a result, the H400 is quite a bit easier to clean overall, and all three parts can often be washed faster than just one of the Nutribullets. Fortunately, when it comes to assembly, these two are a bit more evenly matched. Honestly, the H400 is technically a bit slicker and easier to get together here. But the Nutribullet really isn't far behind with a similar amount of parts. Normally, centrifugal and masticating models are similar in this regard, although well-optimized juicers, like many of those made by Hurom, often have an edge over the rest. Lastly, let's talk a bit about build quality. Now, as you may well expect, there's a bit of a chasm between these two in this regard. Ultimately, the Hurom H400 is a much sturdier product. It has a real feel and weight of something that has been made to last. And it's made of high-quality BPA-free plastics, like Triton and GE Ultim, which are renowned for their durability. The Nutribullet juicer, on the other hand, does not have that feel. It's quite lightweight, and in comparison, feels a bit cheap. That said, it is cheap, especially in comparison to the H400, and it feels a fair bit better than many other centrifugal models in the same price bracket. So we'll give Nutribullet some recognition for that at least, and it does seem that it is worthwhile buying from well-known brands. That said, it seems they only offer 1 year of warranty cover for this juicer, whereas Hurom offers 5 years of cover on the parts for the H400 and 10 years of cover for the motor. So you're likely getting a better return on your investment with models like the H400 in the longer run. Lastly, they are also quite different in stature. Design and style are very subjective, so we won't comment on that right now. However, in terms of size, the Nutribullet juicer is a bit wider than the rather slim and compact H400. It is a good chunk shorter though, which may be of importance in some kitchens. So, based on everything we've said and discussed here, you've probably got the feeling that the Hurom H400 was completely dominant. And honestly, you'd be right. It was superior in pretty much every single way it could be. It has more features, it extracts larger yields of higher quality juice, it's built to a better standard, and it's even easier to use. However, coming back around to a topic we've not focused on much, the Nutribullet juicer is under a fifth of the price of the H400 currently. Does that excuse it losing so badly? Perhaps. Ultimately, it's a good example that spending more does have an impact, and that masticating juicers have quite a significant advantage, especially models like the H400, thanks to its self-feeding technology and multi-screw mechanism, really optimizing the user experience. So, which is best? Well, that depends on your priorities. If you can afford them, self-feeding masticating juicers are simply exceptional. Regular masticating juicers are also great, but the user experience won't be quite as good. Finally, if you don't have loads to spend on a juicer and just need something basic, even at the cost of juice quality and yields, then a centrifugal model like the Nutribullet juicer can be a good option. Ultimately, there is no definite right or wrong answer. Just choose your priorities and see how far your budget can take you to meeting them. As always, thank you for joining us, and we hope you found this comparison useful. If you did, be sure to give it a like, and we'd also love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. For more content like this, be sure to check out our channel and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest releases. Be sure to have a lovely day, and we'll catch you next time.